Hi all, as promised I'm going to do a video showing you how I have put rings into various Filofax Flexes. Before I started I just wanted to show you I've actually done this 4 times. So there's this pocket sized flex, there's these 2 A5 flexes, and there is this foxy dory that I had custom made so that I could get bigger rings into it. So I'm just going to tell you kind of how I've done it, but first of all I'm also going to show you what comes with a Filofax Flex. So this is the pocket in pink. It's got like a textured surface. They don't come with the rings in, obviously, because I've added them afterwards. They do have little pen loops that just fold in these, slide in these side pockets. There are little notebooks that you can get to just slide in here. Ooh, she says. So it comes with one of those, and then you can get little notebooks this size that are just lined. I've rounded the corners on this one, and they can just slide in here or in the front pocket like this. So when I had this as a Filofax with rings in, I actually used to have paper in the middle and then a little notebook at the front, like that. And then I also bought these pocket sized inserts to go in it once I'd inserted the rings. So the other thing that's very cool about this size is that you can punch little index cards, and they actually sit kind of quite nicely in the rings. And this is what I first bought this for, was to store tasks. So and I'm going to do a video after this one on how I used to use these index cards as a task system. So this is a pocket flex, and the rings that I bought for this are a 7 size, and you can see they just kind of overhang slightly, but that never really bothered me. I much prefer to have everything as compact as possible. I don't like big edges all the way around the outside, which is why I bought these flexes and didn't buy standard Filofaxes, because I don't like the excess space that they have around the outside. I like my planner to be as compact as possible. So that was the pocket size. I've got these 2 A5 sizes, so this is actually what it looks like when you get it, except clearly it doesn't have the holes in, and it doesn't have the ring marks there, because they've been there because I've added rings. But again, this is the kind of, you get a notebook of A5 size, you can get a pad to go in here again, and you can get one of these pen loops. These are quite good actually, these pen loops, and you'll see that when I show you my foxy dory that I had custom made, that I've punched these and used them in various other systems as well. So I definitely recommend these as pen loops because they work really well. So this is a plainer texture one. It's floppier than this one. This one's got a bit more firmness to it, and once you've got the pen loops in the side, it's actually quite a nice kind of firm background here. So this is again the pink with a textured cover. So that's those 2, and this is the one I'm going to be demonstrating how I added the rings. And then this is a custom made foxy dory. I did a video about how I moved all my stuff into this one. I'm not actually using this anymore, so I'm going to do an update for you as to what I've now got my work stuff in. But I had this custom made. I added the rings myself. You can see I've punched one of those pen loops. That works quite well. I also had previously punched this one as for my disc ground system, and again that works really well if you need to add a pen loop. So but yeah, I'm not using this anymore. The leather is, I found the leather really heavy because it was double thickness and too floppy for my liking, so I've actually moved to an A5 domino. And these are 2 sets of rings that I have bought. You can buy them on Amazon. I will put a link in the description box below so you can see. You can buy them in all sorts of sizes. So these are 22mm, these are 16mm, and in this one I think these are 25mm. So and I know you can get 30. Yeah, so there's a huge variety both of ring sizes and of lengths. So these are the A5. Like I said, in my pocket I used A7. So and I'm sure you can probably get A6 and other sizes as well. So first of all, you buy your rings. The other equipment that you will then need is you need your cover, you need your rings, you need a ruler. I used some Scotch tape to help me mark where I was going to put the holes without actually marking the cover itself. You need a pen for that, screwdriver. I've used a cutting mat when I did mine, and then you need some sharp implements to make your hole. So this is a tool of my husband's that he uses for clay modelling, and some drill bits which I had to use when I made the holes in the leather. So that's all the kit that you need. And the first thing that you need to do is measure the width, because it's going to be really important that you get your rings centrally so that you don't end up with your cover like this or like that. So you want to have them exactly in the centre. And the other thing that you need to do is make sure that you centre them exactly top to bottom. So measuring is going to be super important here. So first thing that you do is you measure right from one edge to the other. Now this is 33.8 centimetres wide. So the first thing that you need to do is use your trusty calculator to divide that in half. Now it's easy for me because I have the holes already, but what I did is I took some Scotch tape and I stuck my Scotch tape roughly where I thought centre was. Now Scotch tape is really good because it's a bit like post-it note tape. It comes off really easily, it won't leave any sticky behind, but it will do for what you need to do, which is mark up your cover and where you're going to make your holes. So the first thing that I would do, I did my measuring, 33.8 centimetres, divided that in half, so I know that half of that is 16.9, so I went in and I made a mark here on the tape. Saves you drawing actually on your cover itself. Did the same thing at the bottom. So I know that that's the holes need to be on that plane, so that they're going to be exactly central. I measured the height of the cover, which was 22.3 centimetres. So then I made sure I did my sums. So the height of the cover is 22.3 centimetres. The next thing that you do is you take your rings apart. So this is what they come like. This one's still packaged up, but actually you can see they come with a plastic or cardboard strip on the back. Don't totally know that you need that, I just chucked that away, but they basically have a plain rivet on this side and a screw on this side. So you take your screwdriver and you carefully undo the screw. So you take the screw out. You can see I wasn't too careful on this side because when I did it I managed to scratch it like that by slipping, so maybe my screwdriver is a little bit too big. They don't do up too tightly, so as soon as you can use your fingers you can. Again, screw, and on this side you can see the rivet just comes out the other side. So then to put this in exactly central, it's a bit difficult to measure because you can see that these the mechanism that you use to open it kind of hangs either side, so it'd be difficult to kind of do it by eye. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so what I did was I measured from the centre of one hole to the centre of the other, and that is 17.3 centimetres. So then I wrote in that the gap between the rings is 17.3 centimetres. Take one from the other. And that gives you 5 centimetres, so that you know the total either side of the rings that you've got to play with is 5 centimetres. Now you only want half. You want half of that at the top and half of that bottom, because you wouldn't want to be putting your rings like this with your full 5 centimetres left. So you divide that by 2, and that gives you 2.5 centimetres at the top and 2.5 centimetres at the bottom. So I measured 2.5 centimetres and did a line that way, 2.5 centimetres from the bottom, did a line that way, and basically where these lines intersect is where you need to do your hole. So depending on what equipment you've got available to you, depends on how you're going to make your holes here. So my husband usefully has this very sharp pointy device, so I literally just made a mark through the Scotch tape. I then, that would mean that then the cover is marked, I peeled the Scotch tape off, and then I just started to make the hole in the cover. You need to just kind of keep checking. You don't need to make the hole too big. All you need to be able to do is put this plain rivet through the hole, and this is quite stretchy, this material, so I just kept trying and kept doing it until I could stretch it through. You don't want the hole too big, because then it will be baggy and it will move around. You want it, in fact, maybe a tiny bit smaller, and just kind of keep trying and pushing it through, keep working with the tool to make it slightly fatter. Now this tool didn't work on the leather, so actually on the leather what I did was I made a mark with this tool, and then I used increasing sizes of drill bit just in my fingers, just use the drill to make bigger and bigger a hole until it was ready to kind of put the rivets through. The thing is, because this is really quite thick, it isn't stretchy, I had to make sure that the hole was the right size, but then you're ready to go. So once you've got your rivets through, you just take your ring mechanism, and there's no proper way up, it's completely symmetrical. Place the mechanism on top, put the first screw in, and just then screw the mechanism into place. Because you are just tightening against the rivet at the back, it doesn't need to be super tight, just use your finger to hold it in place. Do the same with this one. So let's just screw that in, and there we are, done. It's all in place, and so all there is left for you to do is to think about what inserts you want to put in the side, tuck your notebooks in, put your cards and whatnot in place, and just to show you what this looks like when it's got paper in, just so you can see how big it is. This is kind of what it looks like when it's got paper in. So there's a tiny little overlap. So if that would bother you, then maybe this is not the right answer for you. But I just kind of, I found that preferable to having huge excess of material around the outside, so that I found that quite compact. If you want to use tabs, then it's going to overlap quite a lot more, but that worked really well for me. The pocket one doesn't overlap at all. It's quite a nice little fit. I'll just show you what this is like with some paper in. Take this little book out, so you can see there's no overlap at all. It's perfect. This is probably the best one. These I'm not sure whether I'm going to keep or not. I'm definitely going to keep this one. Oh, and my advice would be, when you're putting the mechanism in, make sure that the plain rivet is at the back and the screw rivet is on the inside, so that it looks nice and clean from the outside. So I hope you found that helpful. If you've got any questions or anything, then just comment below. Alright, thanks, bye.